Here's the gentleman with the bro stash invited to this review because it's going to be freaking awesome.
What's going on, guys? I'm Aaron from PhoneDog.com, and I'm here with the third of the BlackBerry form factors, the BlackBerry Torch 9850. It comes out after the BlackBerry Torch 9810 and the Bold 9900 and 9930, and it's available now at Sprint for $149.99. Now, it's a good-looking device. It's a lot thinner than the original Storm, but it resembles the original Storm with the full touchscreen, even though it's a little bit larger, 3.7 inches on this device. Now, it's available, like I said, for $149.99, but it's going up against the Motorola Photon 4G and the HTC Evo 3D. Can it compete, or should you get something like the Photon 4G, the Evo 3D, or one of the other Android devices on Sprint? We'll find it out in the full review, but first, got to give some love to my boys at Best Buy Mobile because they hook us up with a bunch of phones that we give to you in the One Paw Bandit game. Sprint gave us this one, so we got to give them some love too. Special thanks to them. But at Best Buy Mobile, you walk out working. You'll walk in, they'll help you set up your email, your web. You'll be texting on this in 5 or 10 minutes, and you'll be good to go at Best Buy Mobile. You walk out working. Let's take a look at this in the full review and see, is this a device to get? Into contacts we go to take a look at some of the personal information management options on BlackBerry. Now, you're not going to see a lot of changes here from BlackBerry OS 6, or OS 5.0 rather, and BlackBerry 6. Let's get this over into landscape so you can see a little bit better. But you have the option to add a new contact, and you can go up through here, and you can see new contact. You can see first, last, company, email address, phone numbers, BlackBerry PIN, custom ringtones, alerts, address. Then you can add stuff like birthdays and anniversaries. So a lot of options to add all kinds of information, things like websites, custom fields, notes, and more. So we can go in here and take a look and do, we have an old man already, so let's do young man. And then we'll call him young man Abercrombie. Young man Abercrombie. Young man Abercrombie. Young man Abercrombie is his name. We're going to give him a number, 555, whatever. You get the idea, and then when I go over here and click save, it brings it up, and then it brings up the number that I put in. But it brings up this recent activity option as well. So it shows you the text messages, the phone calls that you've done in the past with young man Abercrombie, in addition to other contacts like old man McTweety, the phone dog, etc. It'll show it in the individual contacts list. Now let's go into the phone because I want to show you this. Let me pull this away real quick just to make sure I haven't made any phone calls on it. But you can see the dial pad here. Now obviously there's no keyboard, or no physical keyboard, that is. It takes full advantage of that 3.7 inch display. So when we dial a number, just to give you an idea of what it looks like, and then we have the call log, and then we have the contacts over here. So if I want to dial young man Abercrombie directly, I can click on it, and it's going to bring it up just like this. Now you can see if I had a picture, it would show up there. It's going to show me my number here. I can increase the volume. Then I have the options down here: speaker, mute, flash, and add participant. I can add notes to the call itself. I can go home. I can go to the calendar. So we're like, let's have lunch on September 10th. I can go over here to the calendar and take a look at that and add that. Now on that note, let's take a look at the calendar and see some of the differences there, if there are any. Let's take a look and see new appointment, just to show you what it looks like, just so what the overall interface looks like. You can see here, and subject, location, start, end dates, pretty self-explanatory there, but you'll see because of the touch interface, you'll see these big buttons like the check, where I can hit that and I can save it directly as opposed to using the BlackBerry key. It's just a habit to use that for me since I'm used to the older keyboard-only devices. But you can see here, we can look at it by agenda, we can look at it by month, we can look at it by day, and we can go to today and take a look at all the stuff that's on the agenda for today as well. On the last day of August, wow, that's hard to believe that it's the last day of August. But let's take a look at the app world. This is one area where BlackBerry just fails, is the app world. And I hate to say it that way, but in comparison to the App Store and the Android market, it pales in comparison. And just pales in comparison. I can't think of a better way of saying it. You can get some basic apps like the Weather Channel, but if you want anything, and maybe Fandango, things like that, Bank of America, when it works, we'll pull up weather here so you can see what it looks like, and then you can get rid of the keyboard by clicking that and getting rid of it. But anyway, it's pretty archaic looking App Store here. They're in the process of changing that right now, so there is going to be a change to the overall UI. This device doesn't have it just yet, but you can see download reviews, recommended screenshots, the description, the OS requirements, and of course the vendor, the version, the size, and the information that you need. Now, the interesting thing again about this, you have very, very few apps. So you want something like the Geico Bro Stash, which I use in the intro, not available on BlackBerry. You want something like, trying to think of something off the top of my head, Wells Fargo, to my knowledge, not available on BlackBerry. So the apps selection is just very sparse, and a lot of apps you'll find are just apps you would really never use. I mean, you can't find any of the common stuff a lot of the time, but you can find John Doe's weather app. You may not be able to find AccuWeather or the Weather Channel. I'm using that as an example. But you'll find all these little random ones. And so that's kind of a frustration of BlackBerry's app world. So very, very behind the times. They really need to work on third-party developer support. And they've done that to an extent with DevCon, some of these things that they do every year. But you can see what it looks like here. Right when you load up, it gives you featured items. And I can scroll over and take a look at those featured applications. BlackBerry Travel, which I do have to give this kudos. I've been using BlackBerry Travel pretty extensively on my 30-day trial with the 9930. It's a pretty impressive program, actually. And then you can see iLocker Pro, QS Schedule Maker, just showing you as an example. You can scroll through all these popular apps, and then you can click directly to download. Now you have My BlackBerry App World over here. You have the newest stuff, top 25 newest. You have top 25 free apps. You have top 25 paid apps, top 25 themes, recently updated, and that's all you get there. And then over here it shows you where you can group by categories. And we can go to apps and see 2,690 app options. Compare that to 300,000 apps in the App Store and about 200,000 in the Android market. Severe difference. Entertainment, for example. Food and drink, we can go down through here. And I do have some stuff like OpenTable, Drinkster, and a few others that I've never heard of. So there are some options, but still way, way behind its competitors. We'll go back here and take a look at media just so you can see all the Sprint stuff that comes pre-installed again. Now I have to give them credit. BlackBerry's Media Manager or BlackBerry's Desktop Manager for Mac works pretty well. Works well on PC as well, but you can bring in your songs from iTunes as long as they're not DRM protected, and you can play them on here. So if you use iTunes, it's pretty quick, pretty easy. All you have to do is install the application on your computer and then go from there. But we'll take a look at all songs just to show you this My Time sample, just to show you what the interface looks like. Pretty basic here. Shows you the timeline between where you're at and the end of the song. Shows you, back, forward, play, pause, and stop, and then some album art if you have it. Then the option, of course, to repeat, and the option to shuffle as well. So let's get into this. There we go. And let's turn it up so you can hear the speaker. So yeah, not the best speaker I've ever heard, but still pretty good. And again, for a device this size, they did a good job with not sacrificing the speaker quality. It's definitely decent. So you have some music options there as well. All the Sprint stuff comes pre-installed. We actually have to download a lot of it, but it comes it's available for free. Now I want to go into Twitter just to show you what it looks like here on a 3.7-inch display. It looks a little bit different than what's on the the Bold 9900 or perhaps the Torch 9810. But you can see it really takes advantage of that screen. Again, portrait, landscape, pretty quick transitions for the most part. But that's Twitter for BlackBerry. Then you have the option to go to your replies, your direct messages, your lists, and search, and then see your own profile as well. So just to show you a quick look into that. Now, one of the best things about BlackBerry, at least for a lot of people, BlackBerry Messenger. You get the option. We'll go in here, and I don't have any contacts in this particular device. But you can add people to BlackBerry Messenger, and it's kind of an instant message service, or it's not kind of, it is, exclusively for BlackBerry users. Each BlackBerry has a unique PIN, so you can see, for example, the PIN here, and I have a PIN barcode as well, which pops up pretty easily on the screen. Then I have a personal message I can set, and then I can show my location and my time zone. But anyway, my PIN's there, and when I add your PIN or you add my PIN, vice versa, it's going to pop up with a request. So it's a nice little IM client. And it's something that's free, and it doesn't take up your text messaging. So if you're on a legacy text messaging plan, something you have 200 or 1,000 text messages, BBM and PIN messages are great ways to work around that. So definitely a nice thing. A big pull on BlackBerry. It's something they market pretty regularly on the ads as well. Let's take a look at vLingo. Actually, let's not, because I have to download that. And that would take too long, and it wasn't that important anyway. You do get vLingo pre-installed though. But something to look at. So all in all, call quality's been very good on this device. It's interesting because the Bold 9930 on Sprint cycles between 1x and 3G pretty regularly. Haven't had that problem with the Torch 9850 yet. It stayed on 3G, and granted, you can go in here and take a look at the drop-down notification. You can see easy access to manage connections, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, mobile network, the alarm, and then I can go down here to options and status. I can see the full options menu, and I can go into device, and I can check the status. And you can see I'm at battery, or 85% battery, and I'm at 90 dBm, negative 90 dBm. So the reception's pretty decent. It's fluctuated every now and again. I took it to a Sprint dead spot in the Charlotte metro area, and it did keep the call. It was very choppy, almost cut out, but I was able to retain the call. But just to give you an idea, again, that is what the what the options menu looks like. And you can see screen display. I can change the font if I want to, just to give you a quick run through of this. I can change it to BB Global Sans, for example. I can keep it at 7. Font style, I can change font smoothing. I can hit save, and you see how that font just changed system-wide. So some cool little customization options, and of course I can change the wallpaper as well. I can go down here to options and get rid of the Sprint wallpaper if I wanted to. And I can go, oh, let's just say, I don't like that one. Let's go to the beach. We all want to be at the beach. So we're going to go here. We'll set this as our wallpaper. And you'll notice the wallpaper will change over. So again, you can use it in portrait or in landscape from the home screen. So it's a decent device. The battery life is not going to make it through a day with moderate use. You're probably going to have trouble there. If you text message a lot, call a lot, email a lot, you're going to either need an extended battery, an extra car charger, or an extra outlet for the office, something like that. But all in all, it's a decent device. Now, at $150, it's right there just under the Photon 4G, the Evo 3D, and the newly announced Samsung Galaxy S2 Epic 4G Touch, which is Sprint's variant of the Galaxy S2 device. So, should you get this when you can get those other devices for $50 more? Well, it depends on if you have the extra $50 to spend. This is a decent device, and as long as you can type on the screen, that was my biggest pet peeve. It's a pretty reasonable device. Now, that said, if you have the $50, I'd say splurge and get one of the Android devices. I think with a combination of the market capabilities, the specs, and just the fact that Android is just a little bit more intuitive across the board than BlackBerry. BlackBerry's a little bit aged. Even though this is a newer platform, it still looks aged, and the menus are still kind of archaic in comparison to Android and iOS. If you got that $50, I'd say spend it on one of the Android devices. Much more coverage to come on PhoneDog.com with the BlackBerry Torch 9850. We'll have dogfights, things like that in the coming days. But be sure to like us on Facebook at facebook.com/PhoneDog. We're doing the greatest tech giveaway ever. We're giving you the opportunity to win an Apple iPad 2, a Samsung Galaxy Samsung Galaxy Tab 10.1, Asus Transformer, or HP Touchpad. We're doing that at facebook.com/PhoneDog. Like the page, enter the sweepstakes directly from the page. Follow me on Twitter as well, PhoneDog_Aaron, and on Facebook at facebook.com/PhoneDogAB. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.